The episode begins with Charlotte dreaming about her sister Natalia. While cleaning the palace, Charlotte is instructed by the servants to clean thoroughly. As she polishes the windows, she looks at her hands with a sad and weary expression. They're reddened from strenuous work. Determined to wash her hands, a maid interrupts and hits her on the shoulder, apologizing afterward. The others mock her, thinking she is foolish, as they don't believe she has any connection to their current lord. Charlotte reflects on the Evans family, mentioning that after her mother's death, she had nowhere else to go, so she must endure. Her sister Natalia appears and gives her some medicine. Charlotte thanks her, crying over her situation. Natalia asks if she has free time tonight, expressing a desire for Charlotte to read a book to her. However, Charlotte apologizes, unable to read any book tonight. Natalia is saddened but asks for one more favor, to address her by name and not with any formal titles. Charlotte agrees, making Natalia very happy. The scene then shifts to a ship at sea, where Alan and his sister Hirotta are heading to their hometown. They are going to their parents. Charlotte wakes up, finding herself on the same ship with Alan and Hirotta. Confused, she gets out of bed to see what's happening. She remembers Hirotta, Alan's sister, and informs them that her sister Natalia is in great trouble. Charlotte is deeply saddened by her sister's plight, not knowing where she is or what she is doing. Alan, who is nostalgic for his hometown, didn't expect to return so quickly. He asks about Natalia, wanting to know more. Hirotta, Charlotte's non-biological sister, reveals that her name is Evans. She is Charlotte's stepsister, 10 years old, and the legitimate heir to the Evans family. Moreover, she is Charlotte's sole supporter in the kingdom of Neros. At this time, Charlotte comes in, and Alan asks her if she had a good sleep. She tells him that she slept well thanks to his enchantments, making Alan very happy. However, he senses that there's something on Charlotte's mind. She informs him about her dream of her sister Natalia and asks him to tell her more about Natalia. Alan agrees, and the small funeral director and the Hellwater Pig come out to listen to Natalia's story. Seeing them, Hirotta is delighted that her brother is surrounded by livelier individuals in her absence. She informs them that her mother will be very happy to see them, indicating that her mother is knowledgeable about magical creatures. As they approach the town, Alan mentions that it's been 3 years since he last visited. Charlotte notices a black building and thinks it might be Alan's previous school, but he corrects her, saying it's the student's residence. She inquires about his school, and Alan reveals that the entire island is the Athens Academy of Magic. While walking around the island, Hirotta explains that most people on the island are connected to the academy, except for a few tourists. Charlotte asks about her sister Natalia, and Hirotta confirms that she is on the island, but alone. Upon reaching the house, Alan is shocked and reluctant to return. Charlotte is excited to meet Alan's parents and prepares mentally to welcome them. Hirotta advises Charlotte not to be afraid or tense, stating that it's her brother Alan who should be. Charlotte doesn't understand, unaware of what happened to keep Alan away from home all these years. Hirotta explains that 3 years ago, after a heated argument with their father, Alan left the school without telling anyone and left home. This troubles Alan, who doesn't want to hear this story, considering it unimportant. However, Hirotta adds that people on the island still talk about the intense magical battle between 2 skilled sorcerers, which led to Alan leaving home. Charlotte becomes anxious, but Hirotta reassures her, saying she'll show her the other side of the island later, where the destruction caused by the battle remains. Eager to see it, Charlotte expresses her excitement, but Alan asks her not to get too excited as it's just a scarred land with nothing worth seeing. Then everyone strolls around the island, and the Hellwater Pig talks to Alan about how, despite the significant dispute with his parents, he surrendered to visiting them for the sake of his beloved. He teases Alan about the dramatic story, which angers Alan, prompting him to ask him not to talk about it that way. Alan then explains that his relationship with his uncle is good, as they have been communicating through mail. The Fenrir and the Hellwater Pig don't understand, so Alan informs them that he was orphaned at a young age, taken in by the Crawford family, Hirotta's adoptive family. Charlotte, feeling jealousy, asks why Alan's family did this. He reassures her that he never left her and will always help her. Charlotte believes that her transformation into a wanted girl has caused trouble for her sister Natalia. However, Alan tells her that the charges against her were fabricated, confident that her sister will understand. He reassures her not to worry, as he will always help her. The Fenrir and Hellwater Pig also offer their assistance, and Charlotte expresses her gratitude for their willingness to help her and her sister. Later, two people are seen arguing, and Albin mentions that conflicts on the island never end. He recalls daily fights but remains unworried, knowing what will happen. Suddenly, their father, heading towards the dispute, intervenes and tries to talk to them. Despite their refusal, he freezes them with his power. Charlotte is thrilled by this, as it seems the man is a seasoned magician. The monster remarks that Alan seems like a great sorcerer. Hearing this, a man rushes over to them and speaks to Alan, expressing joy at seeing him after a long time and thanking Hirotta for helping him. He then notices Charlotte and, introducing himself, reveals that he is Alan's father, leaving Charlotte astonished. The scene transitions to the palace, where they engage in conversation. Alan's father expresses happiness at seeing Alan in good health and with the beautiful girl accompanying him. This prompts a defensive reaction from Alan, who yells at his father. However, Hirotta swiftly hits him in the legs. In his thoughts, Alan contemplates the situation, realizing that he has a girlfriend, but his father doesn't question him about it. He decides to ask Charlotte to handle the matter. Charlotte approaches Alan's father, stating that she is Alan's close friend. The father then comments that she seems to surpass Alan and asks if she is confident in their friendship. Charlotte affirms, mentioning Alan's kind treatment towards her. Alan's father tells her that if anything happens, she can consider him a father figure and rely on him. He then suggests to Alan that marrying Charlotte might help him settle down. Alan and Charlotte react with shock, and his father is surprised by their response. He suggests Alan think about it, but Alan, agitated, declares his decision to make his current residence his permanent home and not return to the academy. Alan's father asks him to calm down and take his time before asking the dog about the offer he mentioned earlier. Hirotta explains that her father is the director of the Athens Academy of Magic, and he wants Alan to take over. The monster chimes in, stating that it would be an honor for Alan, leaving a mark in history. Alan declines, stating that such a position always comes with problems. The monster adds that taking over the entire academy would be a fantastic opportunity, but Alan refuses, as he believes the position comes with too many challenges. Then his father says that Alan is the only one who can replace him because he is his son. This angers Alan, as he doesn't want this position. Suddenly, a girl enters, and Charlotte asks if she's Alan's younger sister. Alan denies this, but the girl hits him with a fork in his hair. It's revealed that the girl is Alan's aunt, astonishing Charlotte. Then the mother introduces herself. Following this, it's revealed through Alan's words that the man is his uncle, wanting to take his place. However, Alan changes his statement, fearing his mother. His father expresses his desire to retire and entrusts Alan with the responsibility. This angers Alan, who doesn't want the position. Charlotte becomes fearful of their interactions, but Alan's mother apologizes to her, indicating they are close. Charlotte jokes that the mother is like her second mom. The conversation then shifts to the topic of Charlotte's sister. The father explains that she's currently studying at their academy, and there seems to be a disturbance within the Evans family. Charlotte's sister is staying there under the pretext of studying abroad. The father then reveals that Charlotte's sister hid her identity using a fake name. The news of Charlotte's escape from the country was well known, and it's natural for her sister to hide her identity. Alan explains that he didn't contact them because he only recently discovered Natalia's secret. The competition between the factions in the academy has worsened, leading Natalia to conceal her identity. The father suggests it might be quicker to show them, and Irika leaves. The magic device, the Mirror of Nostalgia, reveals Natalia sitting sadly with monsters around her. Charlotte is terrified, and Alan becomes furious, saying he'll go and see what's happening. Suddenly, they hear the sound of an explosion. Natalia gets angry at these monsters and tells them to stop messing around with fear of monsters. She scolds them for not being able to even complete simple tasks. Then she informs them that she asked them to buy yakisoba bread, but one monster apologizes and informs her that yakisoba bread is sold out at the cafeteria. Natalia gets very upset with them. Alan is surprised by this and tells Abu Age that 3 months have passed since Natalia joined, and she has grown rapidly, a sight rarely seen in history. She has become the ruler of the academy factions. Abu Age suggests that they can deal with the situation using force, but they want their students to learn freely and comfortably. Alan is confident that he can connect with her, so he asks him to talk to her. Alan approaches Natalia and quickly explains that he thought Charlotte's younger sister was in danger, which shocks Charlotte. She asks what she should do, and Alan's father reassures her that Natalia is not as bad as she seems. The scene shifts back to Natalia, and the monster promises to bring yakisoba bread next time and asks for her forgiveness. He then gives her the remaining money in the bag, which surprises Natalia as it turns out to be 30 cash coins. The monster can't accept such a large amount, but Natalia learns that he works hard to send money to his family, and she insists that he keep the rest. The monster is moved to tears, thanking the leader profusely and expressing his gratitude. He tells Natalia that he owes her his life, and all the monsters are overjoyed, thanking their leader for her kindness. The scene returns to Alan and his father, who inform him that Natalia is very respectful. Alan comments that it's expected from Charlotte's younger sister. Charlotte confirms that Natalia's kindness hasn't changed at all. When asked if she was like that at home, Charlotte denies it, stating that Natalia has never behaved this way before. Alan's father, however, expresses concern that there seems to be chaos in Natalia's family. In his thoughts, Alan reflects on the fact that a noble girl sent to an isolated island, neglected by her parents, is likely to become a delinquent. This saddens Charlotte, who believes Natalia turned out this way because of her. Alan suggests that there could be various reasons for Natalia's behavior and decides to talk to his uncle about what he intends to do. Alan's uncle explains that the academy respects students' freedom, but in Natalia's case, things have gone too far, and they need to convince her to restrain herself a bit and attend more classes. Charlotte apologizes on behalf of her sister, and in his thoughts, Alan decides that leaving Natalia won't harm him or his business. He then tells them clearly that he assumes he has experience in handling such matters and asks them to leave the troublemaker to him. Charlotte is overjoyed, and his uncle becomes enthusiastic, telling Alan that in doing so, he can take on the role of a director. Alan, however, gets angry and firmly refuses, stating that he will try talking to Natalia first. Charlotte suggests waiting to see how things unfold, but Alan, determined, asks if she wants to meet Natalia. He suggests using magic to conceal their identities, but warns her that there might be uncomfortable situations. Charlotte hesitates but agrees to meet Natalia while keeping her identity hidden using magic. Alan warns her about the potential difficulties and asks if she still wants to proceed with the meeting. Charlotte tells Alan that she has never done anything expected of an older sister, except occasionally reading books for her. She mentions that the happy memory of calling her big sister is the only positive memory she has from that home. Charlotte expresses regret and says that if she escapes now, she'll regret it for the rest of her life. She asks to see Natalia, and Alan, Fenrir, and Hippogriff assure her that they are there for her. At this moment, Alan asks his uncle to create a fake ID for Charlotte so she can sneak into the academy as his assistant. His uncle agrees, saying it's a straightforward task. However, Charlotte suddenly informs them that it's getting late, and they should continue the next day. The uncle is surprised, mentioning that they've prepared rooms nearby. Alan confidently says they'll take their leave, leaving Charlotte perplexed. Charlotte then tells Alan's aunt that she prefers to stay in their home for the sake of Charlotte's well-being. Alan, annoyed, tells his aunt that Charlotte didn't say anything. The aunt states that silence is a sign of agreement and, considering Charlotte's well-being, this house is the best option. She decides to prepare their rooms, leaving Alan with an uneasy feeling. When the aunt opens their room, Alan is shocked to find only one bed. The aunt casually mentions that they are a couple, so they will sleep in one bed. Charlotte gets very angry, and Alan, embarrassed, tries to explain that he's not lying about being a couple. The aunt tells them to have a good night and leaves. Alan feels uneasy, and Charlotte, in her peak embarrassment, tells him that they need to wake up early the next day. She suggests going to sleep now, ending their day. She awkwardly adds that it's time to say goodnight and advises the viewers to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell for future updates.